Welcome to Rearranging Change, how you market to an ever-changing world. I'm your host, Steve McChesney. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today is going to be the last of our 5-part series on the generations and how we market to them, each a little bit differently. Today, we're going to talk about Generation Z. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, this is going to be a little shorter than the other ones because I really don't know quite yet the best way to market to this generation. I have an idea, but let's talk about them and then I'll give you my idea. First of all, Generation Z is born after 1996, and right now they make up about 26% of the American population. Now, although that number is big, right now, it has no direct impact as far as our marketing efforts go. Well, it doesn't. We'll talk about that in just a second. They're not the ones who spend the money. It's their parents and their grandparents who are the spenders. Now, according to an article in Bloomberg, they're 61 million strong in the U.S. alone, or more depending on which data set you use. And they're roughly between the ages of 7 and 22. That means we should start thinking about how we're going to market to them very soon. One of the areas that I'm noticing is that this generation likes things brought to them. They've only had Amazon available to them their entire lives. We're seeing an increase in online shopping, delivery of food, grocery store pickup lanes, things like that, because this generation, they don't want to go out for anything. They like to have everything delivered to them. That's what I'm seeing so far. And I think that's why we're seeing more of those pickup lanes at the grocery stores. It's just becoming more convenient. They're using convenience as a motivator. We're going to talk about motivators in another episode of this show. Other names for this generation are founders. Now, why would they call them founders? I believe it was attributed to Elon Musk. It's because this generation has never not had technology. You know, millennials grew up with technology. This generation is pretty much growing in technology. So everything about them is technology. And Elon Musk said that he thinks that that is going to change society as we know it as this generation gets older. They're going to actually change the way we know society. And I believe that could be possible. So, hey, I got a front row seat and I plan on watching very closely. So they're called founders. They're mostly the children of Generation X, and they were born during the minor fertility boom surrounding the global financial crisis of 2008. Funny how that works. I think that was the baby boomer story too, back in 1929. Anyway, that's it for Generation Z today. If you've got any questions or comments, I'd like to hear them. Just email me at steve@rearrangingchange.com, and we're going to be right back with Ron Seggi. My friends, I'd like to offer you a free copy of my international best-selling book, Rearranging Change, How You Market to an Ever-Changing World. Just simply go to rearrangingchange.com. That's rearrangingchange.com. Rearrangingchange.com. I will pay for your book. You simply pay for the shipping and handling. Once again, a little gift from me. Rearranging Change, How You Market to an Ever-Changing World. Go to my website, rearrangingchange.com, and get your free copy today. And we're back, and listen up, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't had a chance yet and you don't listen to the USA Network, good thing we have the internet, because you can go to ronseggi.com and listen to our guests' radio show. It's every week, and it's always incredibly, and it's always entertaining. And we're lucky to have him here on our show today. Hello, my friend, Ron Seggi.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for inviting me back. I really appreciate it. I enjoy being here.
Oh, good. I enjoy having you. It's always a pleasant conversation to have with you when we talk about business and marketing, because you are a genius at it as well, and you've applied it your entire life in so many different ways, which we'll be going over as people get to know you a little bit better. But you brought somebody from your great interview vault to share with us today. Who is that?
Well, it's a gentleman that we've had on the show several times in the past. He's quite a guy. I really like this man. I really do. Jerry Springer is going to be here.
Ah, Jerry. Well, that's great. Let's take a listen.
Great. We're back live all across the USA and around the world. It's Ron Seggi today, and you have no idea how happy I am to hear this man's voice on our show. He used to be with us a lot of times, And he's been one busy man, and I'm so glad that he's back, and now back for a second season in national syndication for his show, Judge Jerry. We're going to talk about a lot of things with our friend Jerry Springer. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Welcome back to the show.
I'm fine. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me. And, being a judge now, my wife said to me, she says, honey, this is the first time in your life that I've ever seen Jerry Springer and honorable in the same sentence. So, she nailed it.
Well, I must call you then Honorable Judge Jerry, because we just had a some kind of a justice on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was a little intimidated, but are you ever going to run for the Supreme Court? I mean, there's rumors going around, you know that.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be appointed.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure. Who's going to appoint you? We don't know, but you will be appointed.
I don't think Trump will.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the show, which you do a terrific job, and I'm so happy that you're in the second season, I got to tell you something. Now, you and I have done this show many, many times in the past. There are some things that I didn't know about you, and I didn't really have them in progression. Can I run down this? And I don't want this to sound like Steve Allen said to me one time, like an obituary, okay? So let me just... Okay, first of all, you were born in London in a Highgate tube station because of the bombs of World War II. You successfully fled Eastern Europe and the Holocaust. Okay, now here's what I mean, I know you've done everything.
Yeah.
A degree in political science at Tulane University, a degree in law at Northwestern University, a lawyer in Cincinnati, ran for Congress in 70. You turned to local government, Cincinnati City Council for 5 terms, mayor of Cincinnati at age 33, ran for Ohio governor. You were an anchor at a TV station, well known as an anchor man. You went on to do both a talk show in Chicago and in Cincinnati, going back and forth. Then, of course, the show. Then the autobiography Ringmaster, which was turned into a feature film. Then The Simpsons. Then the wax statue of you and Madame Tussauds. Then being elected as one of 10 most fascinating people. Then in the movies. Then of course, Dancing with the Stars, speaking at Oxford University, then became a theater actor, had a Broadway appearance, an opera in London. I mean, can you sing, Jerry?
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies.
Jerry,
when I sing, people get involved because they have to guess where the notes were supposed to have been.
Well, the reason I asked you if you sang is with all of these accomplishments and singing, you're a bigger full package than Elvis Presley. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I was going to say I'd rather be Elvis, but not now.
No. Yeah. Bad ending.
Yeah.
So tell us about...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're terrific. You are everybody's friend. You really are. Now, the second season in the syndication, Judge Jerry, this is a great show. And I assume by just looking at you on TV, you are having one hell of a good time.
I got to tell you, I really, really love doing this show. I mean, my other show is running for 28 years now. I mean, obviously that was fun, but adults could do it. I mean, you didn't have to have any kind of a brain. But doing this show, I have to study the cases, and so it's like being back in law school again, or being back at a law firm. So I really enjoy it. I thought at this age, I'd be retired. But now all of a sudden I have a reason to get up every morning, and it's exciting. I love it.
Well, the thing that gets me is that you are so believable in so many different venues. I mean, when you do something serious, when you're, a lawyer and you were serious, a newsman when you're serious, the Jerry Springer show when it was much lighter. Now you have a combination of having to be serious, but you still have that tinge of showmanship in you as a judge. I mean, I can't imagine, for example, Ruth Ginsburg doing what you do.
No, well, I am no Ruth Ginsburg.
Well,
I knew Ruth. Yeah.
There you go. You're going to use.
The Kennedy one.
The Kennedy line.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was Lloyd Benson.
Lloyd Benson. Yeah.
Yeah. In the vice presidential debate in '88
with Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When Dan Quayle was saying, "Well, John Kennedy was only 30-something or 40-something," and Lloyd Benson turned to him and said, I knew John Kennedy. John Kennedy was a friend of mine. you are no John Kennedy.
And I remember that distinctly because I'm a presidential buff. I have a replica of the Oval Office in my home. That's how far I've gone.
Oh, that's great.
But I got to tell you, there is a comeback line to that. Quayle just wasn't fast enough to pick up on it, and I certainly am not going to go in that corner. But now, when you get these decisions that you have to come to, how difficult is it? I know this isn't the electric chair or life in prison, these decisions, but how much does it prey on your mind? Because I've often wondered when a judge makes a decision that truly impacts the remainder of one's life, it's got to be something that preys on your mind 24 hours a day. I mean, I don't know how you'll get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, it's first of all, this is small claim.
Right.
And the thing with even though the issues could be just as complicated, the dollar amount is less. A small claims court is also a court of equity. What I mean by that is it isn't just statutory law. It's also what is fair and just. In other words, you can throw that into the equation. So it's not just a matter of looking at the whatever local ordinance they have in that state. I also try and see what is the fair thing, because not all laws are fair in every situation.
Right.
Sometimes your sense of justice is offended by having to apply a particular law when, you're really going to hurt this person and they don't deserve to be hurt. So I kind of mix that. The way I go to it is if I were their father or if I were their grandfather, their parent, how would I deal with this? What would I say to them? If it's time to be stern, I'd be stern, but always caring and always, wanting not to hurt the child or the person in front of me. So I start on that basis and then see if there's a law that I can apply which would let me come to that result. Now, that's not the way the Supreme Court has to act, or a federal court, or even a court of appeals. But at this level of small claims, when you're often dealing with people that don't have a lot of money, that don't have all the resources, they're not showing up there with an attorney that can use every trick in the book.
Right.
I think, it's kind of the responsibility of the judge to be a little protective of these people as well, not just, slam the book at them.
Yeah, I think and I'm certainly in no position to say this, but I don't have the experience or the expertise that you have in this arena, but it is kind of a lesson learning type of thing before you go in front of a judge. I mean, you just don't want to be thrown in a slammer someplace. It does call for some kind of rehabilitation. But, it sounds as if you have a lot of pre-trial preparation for this show versus, your other show.
Oh, well, the other show, there was no preparation because I wasn't allowed to know what the show was about. When they sent me out there, you always see me holding the card. All the card has on it that I hold are the names of the guests. But I never know what the subject matter is or what their story is. That's why the first question in every segment always is, so what's going on? Mm-hmm. And then they start telling me the story, and my job in that show is to listen to their story, make some jokes, and bring out the next guest. That's all that I was being paid there to try to be funny.
Yeah.
Not based on any preparation, because I'm not supposed to be prepared for that show. But on the court show, we tape every other week, and we do 35 cases a week.
Wow.
And on the off week, they send me the cases so I can research them, because these people come from all 50 states, and each state obviously has different laws, different ordinances from their whatever community they're in. So the off week is when I'm doing the research, and then we hear from them, the witnesses and the parties, the week of the taping.
But Jerry, there is an immense amount of talent when it comes to doing things off the cuff, like you did with the other show. Because look at shows like the old Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. A lot of that was off the cuff. That takes a real talent to be able to go out there unscripted and do something and make it work. And man, you did it excellently. You are just so good at that.
You're kind, but you know what? Most people are like that. If you think about it, when you're out with your friends, you're constantly, you have quips and comments, and sometimes they're funny and sometimes they're interesting. And it's just, if you can forget that there's a camera there and just talk to the person, that'll come out naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I would argue, it's good to be a nice person, I guess, but it's not a particular talent. And I think if you go into it thinking, boy, I'm going to have to perform, you blow it because it doesn't come across as sincere. Just go out and be yourself as if you were talking to, your spouse or your friends at home.
That's a poor example when you say my spouse, because my spouse, you know what it is, and I know, Jerry, that you probably fall in the same category. Anybody who's ever gone in front of an audience has, where you sit down with your wife one day and say, listen to this line, you're going to love it, I'm going to use it tonight, and you're done with it, and she says, are you finished? And then you don't want to say it to anybody. But when you go, you know that.
You are right. Oh, man, yeah.
You don't ever try that material on your wife. Do you still have a home down here in Florida?
Yeah, Sarasota.
I performed the last few years with a 15-piece orchestra doing a tribute to Dick Clark's American Bandstand. And I was just there 2 weeks ago. I wish I'd have known it. I'd have had you come over and say hi and promote the show.
Oh, man, yeah. So you're doing a Dick Clark kind of show, or
well, I'm a singer, so I have a 15-piece orchestra and backup singers behind me.
Oh, man, Ron.
And I do all the songs from the 50s, 60s, 70s, anywhere from Elvis to Del Shannon to Neil Diamond and everything else.
Oh, right. What am I thinking? I went blank. Of course you do. Yes,
and I was just down there, just about a couple miles south of you. Next time I go in that area, I will have to ring you up so that you can be there.
Oh, yeah. And I'll come up and we'll do Elvis together.
Or we'll do the national anthem like you were doing earlier. Okay?
Yeah, I think I'll go with Elvis.
You could be a hunk of Burnin' Jerry, right?
But if I do the national anthem, people will get up already, but they'll get up to leave.
It's funny you should mention that, because a dear friend of mine is Lee Greenwood, and the last song that we do on the show is "God Bless the USA." And I told him, it's a great song. Everybody stands up, but it's a really, really, really sneaky way to get a standing ovation, okay?
I know.
They're standing for the song, not for me.
Me singing "My Friend the Witch Doctor," that doesn't get a standing ovation. That won't do it.
That's great. I got to ask one quick question. I know you're on a busy schedule, but back to the days when you had a show in Chicago and in Cincinnati, you made that commute every single day, Jerry?
5 days a week.
5 days a week,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a dedicated
that got
guy.
to be too much. I did that for about a year and a half, and then, that's when I stopped doing the news. I'd done it for 10 years and just devoted full time to the show. Yeah, it just became too much to do both, and the company, because it's for them a bigger revenue maker, wanted me to do the show.
Jerry, I know that you've probably been asked this a million times about going back into politics, but I mean this sincerely, okay? I mean, I don't want you to do that because I have too much fun watching you entertain.
But, I'm too old.
Well, plus the fact everybody wants to still love you, and when you go into politics, that sometimes doesn't last.
No one loves you anymore. No, that goes.
Yeah, that goes out of the door. Jerry, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. Okay, my friend.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jerry Springer has been our guest. He's the best. And there's more to come with Ron Seggi today.
Jerry Springer. Wow. I had no idea, Ron, that he was in so many different occupations.
He's a unique individual. A lot of people can do a lot of things in a career, but they all have some kind of a relation to them. I mean, in other words, an attorney could maybe turn into a politician or go into being a district attorney or into business. Jerry Springer is very unique in that every time he changes a career, he changes the style, which is very, very risky for a lot of people, because you might like somebody doing one thing, but you don't like them doing something else. For example, if Jay Leno, when he was on The Tonight Show, came out and started singing "My Way" by Sinatra, you would think, oh, this isn't the image. Jerry Springer can jump those different fences. He's like a chameleon. And when he does it effectively. I mean, he was a lawyer. He was a mayor. He was on a crazy talk show. He's a judge now on television. He's an actor. He's a voiceover artist. I mean, he changes with the landscape and everybody accepts the change. That's
Well,
difficult and very risky in marketing.
Well, it is, but at the same time, it's what entrepreneurs need to do. They need to have their hand in a bunch of different areas. They have to be able to market effectively, branding themselves and do whatever you got to do. And they call it multiple streams of income. He has definitely found his multiple streams of income, whether it's being the judge on this show or his over 20 years doing the Jerry Springer show, the lawyer. I didn't know he was a mayor. I mean, amazing the many things that he's done, but all of it leads to the Jerry Springer that we all know and love. So I think it was an excellent interview. One of the things I also found interesting that he was born in a tube station.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yeah, you're right. Now, you talk about mayor. He wasn't mayor of some small hick town either. Cincinnati, I think, is where he was mayor of.
One of the things that he said, too, that stuck out to me, and I think will stick out to my listeners, because it really is everything about business. I'll put it in the perspective of what he said. You asked him about, did he ever get nervous when he went out onto the stage? And he talked about in the Jerry Springer show, he never knew what the show was about. They handed him the cards, he walked out there, and then he got to find out what it was about. And you said, didn't that make him nervous? And he said, the way he did it was he went out there and was just being himself. His exact words were, if you think you have to perform, you'll blow it. Just be sincere. Isn't that the truth when it comes to dealing with your customers? Don't perform for them.
You need to be prepared, but not overly prepared. I mean, you obviously have to know how to counter objections, especially in the sales game.
Sure.
I mean, that's very important. But if you go out there looking like a machine,
right?
And I know some MCs on television that do that and have done that, then it becomes very artificial. The key to it is to make it look natural, yet off the cuff.
Right, exactly right. And be off the cuff.
Prepared.
Be prepared, but be authentic, and listen. You have what they say, you have two ears and one mouth. So listen to your customers saying and just respond to it, not give them a prepared presentation. Just makes a big, huge difference. Well, once again, Ron, thank you very much. I love when you bring these interviews to our show and how we can attach them to the business world from the celebrity world. And you being my big celebrity friend anyway, I really appreciate you. And we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Well, I guess that you're in a good position right now because I got over 19,000 of those interviews. So we could be here for eternity.
That's great. I hope my podcast runs that long. That'd be perfect.
I hope so too.
All right. Thank you, Ron. And we'll see you next week, my friend.
Thanks, Steve.
You got it. And thank you for listening, folks. Again, as always, if you have any questions, you have any thoughts or ideas you want to share with me, just send me an email at steve@rearrangingchange.com, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Rearranging Change. Make sure to visit my website, stevemcchesney.com. Sign up for my newsletter. We'll be talking soon.